Stanley Kubrick didn't just make films, he exposed truths. His final movie, Eyes Wide Shut, pulled back the mask on the rituals of the elite. And just days after delivering his final cut, he was dead. Officially, it was a heart attack. But a CIA officer, speaking on his deathbed, confessed it was an assassination, carried out under orders from above. He revealed that the Eyes Wide Shut we saw was a mutilated version of Kubrick's vision, its narration torn out, whole sequences erased, and a chilling subplot exposing elite paedophile networks buried in the cutting room floor. Tonight, we'll play that confession and piece together the missing fragments of Kubrick's final vision, what they didn't want you to see. Warning, what you're about to see and hear is explosive. It's already claimed multiple lives, and it could claim more. Before we dive in, a quick word about our partner VP.net, the next generation of private browsing. VP.net is the only VPN designed with true zero-logging architecture. That means unlike other VPNs, it literally can't track you. So even if governments or bad actors come knocking, there's nothing to hand over. It's that simple. Your data stays yours, period. Stanley Kubrick died of a so-called heart attack in his sleep, just 6 days after screening what he believed was the final cut of Eyes Wide Shut for Warner Brothers. He reportedly called it his greatest contribution to the art of cinema. But speculation has always lingered that Kubrick wasn't simply unlucky, he was silenced. And the deeper we dig, the harder it is to dismiss.
There was a man named Stanley Kubrick who produced and directed his last movie called Eyes Wide Shut. The movie Eyes Wide Shut, I think, from what indications I've received out of Hollywood, he died because of that film. I think he was assassinated because of that film, and I think he knew that his days were cut short. You need to get the movie, rent it and watch it, Eyes Wide Shut by Stanley Kubrick. Because in the movie he shows how very sophisticated, wealthy, intelligent elites actually live, what their secret societies, blood sacrifices, murder, rape, pornography, killing. But on the surface, they are very important looking people. They have nice suits and they look good on television. And behind the scenes, they're murderous. And that's what the movie was called, Eyes Wide Shut, because that's exactly what America is doing. It's looking at these politicians and religious leaders with their eyes wide shut. Political leaders, religious leaders, all the same thing.
Let's rewind to the movie's first industry screening in London, just days before his death. Witnesses recall Kubrick's fury. His masterpiece had been mutilated. Narration stripped, scenes missing, subplots erased. This wasn't the Kubrick the world knew, the director of 2001: A Space Odyssey, A Clockwork Orange, The Shining. A man who fought for and maintained absolute artistic control over every frame of his career-defining films. The idea that Warner Brothers would strip him of that control for his final work? Unthinkable. As Pulp Fiction writer Roger Avery says.
There were people who were outside of the theater who could hear inside of the theater Kubrick yelling at all the executives and saying, "It's my movie, you can't cut it. You can't fucking cut my film, blah, 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 blah." Big argument going on. Then he dies like 4 days later.
Oh, Jesus.
So somebody went in and finished the movie, but I think when they finished the movie, they hid the film.
The version of Eyes Wide Shut that reached theatres was explosive enough. In it, Kubrick dared to show how the elites actually live. On the surface, they're polished and untouchable, dressed in sharp suits, speaking smoothly on television, projecting power and respectability. But behind the curtain, Kubrick revealed a darker truth. Secret rituals, used not just for pleasure but for control. And for those who crossed the line, the most dire consequences. Of the kind Kubrick was about to experience himself.
But I warn you, if you make any further inquiries, or if you say a single word to anyone about what you have seen, there will be the most dire consequences for you and your family.
No wonder the CIA acted on behalf of the global elite, their masters, to ensure the final cut never saw the light of day. We've got the details about that operation coming up. If you want proof how dangerous this topic is, just look at Quentin Tarantino. The man never stops talking until this comes up. Suddenly, he's quiet, tense, uncomfortable.
I was just thinking, I just pulled my script from Eyes Wide Shut. I had a script that was from set, and I was reading it over the weekend, and I saw that it has this. I mean, I've known this for a long time, but I started really thinking about it over the weekend. It's missing a narration. It's missing a third-person narration that was originally in the movie. And that's because the movie was recut and changed after his death. And they will deny it. But as a student of Kubrick, I'm watching the movie and I'm like, well, Kubrick wouldn't do that. Kubrick wouldn't do that either. And Kubrick would have trimmed this scene.
I didn't know they recut it after his death.
Okay, so
I
apparently
think they finished it.
well, that's the party line.
That's their version,
That's the
yeah.
party line. But I think that they changed the notes, the close-ups, the inserts of the notes. I think those are changed. It's missing a narration. It's definitely missing a narration. A third-person narration, like that scene where he sees the prostitute who's died. He's at the morgue and he's looking at her and he's like leaning over her. It's a bed for narration. There's this whole thing. What they do instead, because they couldn't say that Kubrick finished the movie because they hadn't done the recording of the narrator yet. And so maybe they just kind of kludged it together, except there's an entire thread that's kind of been squashed in that film. And that's the two men that are throughout the movie that are constantly in the background of the film, who eventually in the final shots of the film, you see like Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman in that final scene in the toy store when she's looking at the Rosemary's Baby bassinet, which is totally Kubrick saying something. And they never take their eyes off their daughter until the moment they take their eyes off and the final line of the movie is coming up. You see those two guys walking off with the daughter. They're taking her away. They've given their daughter to the pedo cult. That's what's happened at the end of the movie.
As much as they tried to dismantle Eyes Wide Shut after Kubrick's death, fragments of his vision still bleed through, enough to trace the outlines of the truly dangerous film he actually delivered. Take the final scene. It doesn't make a lot of sense in the version they finally released, because the crucial subplot had been surgically removed by hidden hands from the movie. But as Roger Avery said, if you watch closely, you'll see it, hidden in plain sight. In the background, Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman's characters appear to sacrifice their young daughter, led off by two men in dark suits. For most viewers watching the studio's heavily censored cut, it's a detail that's easily missed. But in context, it's a chilling clue to what Kubrick wanted us to understand about elite ritual child abuse and sacrifice, and what the studio tried to erase. After the break, Nicole Kidman's chilling testimony about what Kubrick revealed to her, the truth about psychopathic paedophiles in power, and why the media erased her words. Plus the bombshell deathbed confession of a CIA officer, exposing how an occult network with ties to King Charles carried out Kubrick's death, and the terrifying reason why.